This episode of the Wax Pack Flashback is brought to you by Trading Card Database. Visit tcdb.com.
Hey there, Wax Packers. Adam coming at you with another edition of Wax Pack Flashback. You know, we've been covering a lot of movie trading cards lately. We're going to break the mold a little bit here. We're going to get into some fantasy art with the art of Boris Vallejo trading cards. Yes, from Comic Images. These are from 1991. Now, Boris Vallejo, I don't know if that's a name that stands out to you, but I certainly know him well from a couple different sources. I know a lot of people, he was a fantasy art illustrator, so on a lot of fantasy and like sci-fi novel paperbacks, a lot of barbarians, a lot of warriors, a lot of demons and things like that he would do. But his characters were always like glistening, perfectly muscular. They looked like they stepped off the set of the Conan the Barbarian stage show at Universal Studios from the 80s. But I also know him specifically because in the late 90s, he got tapped by Fleer and Skybox to do a whole bunch of Marvel comics, specifically like X-Men and things like that, and Marvel masterpieces. He was doing a lot of painted art of famous comic book characters. So the name Boris Vallejo was always in Wizard magazine. They even did a contest once where you could have your face painted on a Boris Vallejo body, so be super muscular holding a sword, stuff like that. So he is a fascinating character for me. Also, my mom is an artist, and so she had all sorts of reference books in her office at home back in the day. And I used to sneak in there and take a look at the Boris Vallejo book. Why? Well, because there were a lot of muscular dudes with swords. There were a lot of scantily clad muscular women with swords as well in various states of undress. That was just how it went. Now, I say that just because I was a young, red-blooded American boy, and that's what I was looking for at the time. But also, I'm going to say that as we go through these cards, you're going to see, you know, again, very, like, anything, if you ever watched the Sword and Sandals films of the 80s, you know, there was, right after Conan the Barbarian, that became all the rage. That's a lot of what you're going to be seeing here. So I just want to give you a heads up if that's not your cup of tea. But I think it's going to be a fascinating journey. Plus, I have a little bonus at the end. So let's get into it here. All right, well, here we are with a pack of Boris Vallejo trading cards from 1991. Here it's telling us we're going to see some of the most beautiful fantasy artwork in a 90-card collection. Let's flip this over. We get 10 cards per pack. Tells us here, savor the gallery of sensual fantasy painting. Yeah, so by Comic Images. Let's take a look and see what we get here. Okay. So, first up, we have a muscular dude in a ripped tank top. Not sure what this is from. Let's find out here. It says Tattoo, 1981, Mirage Ballantine. With the Mirage book, I didn't aim to tell a story with these paintings, but rather to create a good, strong visual impact. So I'm not sure if this is like Mirage Studios. I don't think so. This must have been like a private, portfolio of his work that he was putting together. Oh, well, there we go. Speaking of private... Now, if you notice here, yes, we got a woman here, but there is a little demon hand coming out of there. So what was this about? Jade Mannequin. Boris uses erotic art to play on the onlooker's desires like a virtuoso on his violin. Yes, there you go. What's next here? Okay, got some female warriors here. One's got an axe, one's got a sword. What's this about? Mother and daughter. Censorship has even affected Boris when one of his bare-breasted Amazon paintings returned with cut-out photos of hubcaps used as breastplates. What? Wow, so back in 1986. It doesn't look to be the case in this one, but just a story from his career, I guess. All right, wow, okay, so this looks like some Olympian god. Is this supposed to be Zeus? Let's find out. Oh, Elijah. When Boris came to the United States, he knew no English, had no friends, and only $80 in his pocket. So this is interesting. You're getting like some sketches and a little bit of biography on Boris in 1981. We're getting kind of the piece of his journey Wow, that's kind of cool. This looks like some red Sonia right there. Some type of demon appearing to her in a red mist. The Scarlet Menace. Paintings for many book covers are reduced to 4 by 7 inches, and every detail of work must be clear. Okay. Just a reality of the type of work he has to do. Ooh, check this out. We got a Pegasus going on in space. All right, let's check this out. Oh, a feral Catwoman on the back. The Golden Wings, that last one was called. The Fantastic Art of Boris Vallejo. This graceful Pegasus is a good example of the beautifully proportioned fantasy horse based on reality. Okay, I will agree with that. It was a good-looking Pegasus. Who's this here? Wow. I think it's kind of this demon woman. We got a little creature down here. Even the horse looks like it is a little bit sickly and crazy. Witch and her familiar. Peruvian native, Boris began to learn some English by reading comics. Oh, okay, I didn't know Boris was from Peru. I wouldn't have guessed that. I always thought Eastern Europe with a name like Boris, you know? Wow, check this out. What is, that is kind of crazy looking. Let's find out who this is. A genie, not like any genie I've ever seen. Boris first took art lessons at the age of 14. That must be a self-portrait there, maybe. All right, looks like we got a little bit more sci-fi fantasy going on here. Maybe a book cover? Let's find out. Beast and the Butterfly. Art directors categorize you. I noticed that one art director had me listed in his file index not under V for Vallejo, but under S for science fiction. Okay, so do some science fiction. You're getting the old Rolodex there. That's a pretty neat art. Whatever that's supposed to be, that's pretty cool looking. This guy looking on. Let's see here. Tower. Though it stands to reason that in order to be able to draw or paint something, you have to be able to see it first. Good point. Gotta be able to visualize it. All right, let's get on to the next pack of cards here. So just as a little bonus here before we go, I happen to have this pack of Comic Images Supreme collector cards, which is basically a collection of various artists here you can see, including Boris Vallejo. That there is, different versions of their art, but it doesn't seem to follow any particular theme. And some of the cards, it says here, are adult-oriented. So I figured I'm not going to show that off entirely. But for example, there is this card here that is Rhonda Shear, who you might recall from USA Up All Night, and Mickey, my compatriot here on Wax Pack Flashback. Big Rhonda Shear and Up All Night fan. So I just thought it was worth sharing that card real quick here. But also, since we're talking about Boris, there was an actual Boris Vallejo card here. You can see it's got some strange printing effects added to it, which really makes it a work of art in and of itself. But it tells you a little bit more about Boris here. Hey guys, what is Julie Bell that I have that I don't? So Boris got a checklist of all the cards that were part of his work in this set here. But just wanted to share that with you. And now let's talk about what my favorite card in the set was. All right, so Boris Vallejo trading cards, right? Like I said, I knew what to expect. I'm not sure if you knew what to expect. Plus that little bonus at the end that he was featured by himself, just an actual profile photo of Boris Vallejo, the artist. I thought that was fascinating. So if I had to pick my favorite card, though, from all of that, I'd have to say Rhonda Shear. I'm just kidding. That would be Mickey's favorite card. No, if I was going to pick my favorite Boris Vallejo painted art card, because that's what this is all about, I got to go with this Pegasus in space, or officially it's known as Golden Wings, okay? But to me, this looks like something that would have been on the box art to the Golden Girls She-Ra knockoff action figures from back in the day, maybe? Or maybe even, something that you would have seen painted on the side of a custom van in the 70s that was still driving the streets in the 80s. Man, I loved keeping an eye out for those custom painted vans, man. But yeah, so some Boris Vallejo art, come on, it's fine art. It's very fascinating to see just what people were looking for in the realm of fantasy to bring it to life, and he was the artist to do it. All right, but are we the channel to keep you entertained? I sure hope so, and not just by my background here. All the fun Halloween goings on we have going on around here in my office, but I just wanted to keep you posted because we have a few more episodes to go, and then season 2 is going to be wrapping up. So stay tuned, stay subscribed here to TRN TV, and hey, we'll check you later.